Well, hello there and welcome back. And this is now week 5, the penultimate week. We said in week 1 was going to do this for 6 weeks, so week 5 is next to last. Thankfully, birthdays have gone and Easter's gone, which is cool. And it's just going back to a normal week. But this time, can we actually put weight on? And the only way I can think of it is by continually eating like I have been doing, but simply drop all the habits. So just forget about every single habit in the book and let's just behave like I'd normally do throughout my lifestyle, which has always created a weight problem. So say no more, and without further ado, let's roll the credits and start with week 5. First thing to do as always is have a look at the spreadsheet to see where I was up to at the end of week 4 going into week 5, and what we can see is that we was at £262 after losing £1 in weight, which, you know, pretty good. Keep saying that. So what we have to do is put the £262 into our BMI calculator, which is going to give us the number of calories that we need to eat this week. So once again, the only thing what we need to do is replace the 263 with 262, and that tells us that the number of calories this week is 1,750, which is a little bit less than last week. As you lose weight, these calories will go down until you hit your ideal weight, and then obviously you just say that you don't want to lose weight anymore, and you're rewarded far more calories to eat within a day if you choose to. But for now, it's 1,750 calories for this week. So this week there is no excuse for birthdays, there's no excuse for Easter. We're still not having the liver tonic, I'm not having the stomach tonic. I am going to eat a little bit more sensibly, but what I'm not going to do is use any of the habits in the book. This week is just purely, you know, it's like a normal time for me, and you know, that's the way it's going to do. So pasta, carbs, anything I want to eat, no habits from the book, no liver tonic and no stomach tonic. And we started on Monday with a fried egg sandwich. Had no snack, but at lunchtime we had pasta with a sauce. Now quite often as I'll do this, because my daughter likes pasta and sauce, it's probably left over from the night before. It weren't a great deal, but you know, it's better than throwing food away. As well have the leftovers if we can. And then in lunchtime, so there's no snack in the afternoon, and then during the evening meal I had meatballs and gravy with bread, and probably because I not had a great deal during the day, later on I went for a cheese on toast. And then of course finished the evening off with a gin and tonic, probably 2, possibly 3, and that came to 1,724 calories. So Tuesday I weren't having as a treat day, and the book it's recommended that you move the treat days around. So this week Tuesday's not a treat day, it's a normal day. And for breakfast I had Weetabix with milk. No morning snack. If you have Weetabix, and I think you had 3, they do fill you up, so there's no need for a morning snack. Lunchtime was chicken curry, and because the cauliflower rice last week didn't really fill me up, I had it this time with couscous. That did seem to fill me up, so in the afternoon I didn't have a snack. But in the evening we had gammon joint, which is lovely, with mashed potatoes, sprouts and gravy. Now that's probably quite heavy for an evening meal, especially during the week, and probably better off having something like that at lunchtime. However, you know, gammon joint, mashed potatoes, sprouts and gravy, it's very, very nice. And there were sprouts in there, so obviously bringing back more vegetables than we have been on previous week. And finished it off with a couple of gin and tonics, giving me a total of 1,681 calories. Wednesday I had bacon sandwich and toast. So obviously just made myself a bacon sandwich. Probably late morning, had a piece of toast with it. just to fill me up. I haven't classed it as this morning snack, but probably realistically that's what happened. Then at lunchtime, back to Subway, and had a Subway 6-inch BMT. Can't remember what BMT is, but there you go. Bacon marinated something or other. I don't know. I put down Subway 6-inch BMT. Then no afternoon snack, and amazingly no tea. But that night, once again, it must have been a away from work night. So I had some Guinness, some gin and tonics, and roast chicken crisps. So obviously in the afternoon, the bacon sandwich, then the toast, then the Subways filled me up, and then just finished with those. And that came to 1,515 calories. So coming into Thursday, and it was fried egg and bacon sandwich. So it's kind of mixing up the last couple of meals that I've had for breakfast. No morning snack, but then at lunchtime it was roast chicken crisps. So obviously at this point this tells me is I've got a party pack of crisps. So I'm just trying to use these up. And it had liver, onions and gravy, which once again liver's awful. Not a lot of people like it. However, if you can stomach it, it is a very good meat to have. It helps with the self-repair of the body. It's very low in calories. So it'd be lamb's liver, onions and gravy. It's nice, light liver. Then the mid-afternoon, once again I didn't have any potatoes or anything with it. So mid-afternoon it was roast chicken crisps. And then the evening a chicken stir fry, which once again is mainly veg. A little bit of chicken in there, quite good. And then in the evening a couple of chocolate biscuits. So once again, is that I'm not really a sweet person, but having the cake the week before, suddenly you think, oh, well, I might have some biscuits. Your body will start to crave. And then a gin and tonic, or a couple of those at night, which then came to 1,773. So Friday, and I nominated Friday as my treat day. It's Friday, and there's a lot of leftover snacks from Easter. So it's a good time to actually get rid. And also I need a treat day. If you leave it too late when it's a Saturday or Sunday, then you'll probably find it's like you'll miss it, which is not doing what the plan tells you to do. So also at this point, one thing I wasn't missing, was bread. I just wanted to be a little bit more fair to the plan, so while shopping I actually discovered Weight Watcher bread, which was a little bit smaller, therefore lower in calories, and hopefully that will help with this week. However, it is still bread, and it's still recommended that you avoid it, even though I've been eating it like crazy over the past couple of weeks. But however, I do say try to avoid bread if you can. For Friday for breakfast, I had a chicken soup with Weight Watcher bread. No morning snack. Weight Watcher bread is actually quite filling, and unless you compare it to a normal loaf, a bit like the Smart Price bread going back many years, is that it is smaller, but it's not particularly noticeable smaller. So if you just had a couple of slices of bread as you would do normally, then you wouldn't realise. And in my situation, I had this chicken soup with the bread, and I was actually filled where I didn't need a morning snack. But lunchtime came along, and it was potato waffles for a change with spaghetti bolognese. So something I've not had for a long time. More of a treaty type thing after it's a treat day, so why not? Then in the afternoon snack, it was roast chicken crisps, still trying to get rid of the family pack, and Weight Watcher bread. You know what this means. It's a crisp sandwich, or a crisp butty, would say over here. It's just tradition. I'll put it down to tradition. So, and then in the evening, it was a tin of tomatoes with beef sausage. So it's kind of going along a healthier type breakfast. I didn't have any bread at this point. I actually felt okay. But in the evening, and I wanted to make an effort to try and break the plan. So it's Friday night, so it was a full bottle of red wine, then chocolate cake with ice cream, and then a few gin and tonics. So, the idea is to bust the limit quite badly, which I succeeded at 2,023 calories. So going back to Saturday, which is a standard day, but breaking the plan, I didn't have any breakfast, I didn't have any morning snack, probably still full from the chocolate cake. But at lunchtime I'd made a sausage casserole, which I had with Weight Watchers bread. That meant that I didn't need an afternoon snack, and in the late evening I had another childhood treat for me, which is meat and potato pie coated in oxtail soup rather than gravy. It sounds horrible, and a lot of people don't like oxtail soup, probably because it's made from oxtails, but you know, if you try it, I found it's really nice and something different. Can't quite find the oxtail soup that I want. I tried various brands and it's not quite there, and you can actually get oxtails from the butchers, which I've been known to do. However, the problem with that is it's really expensive, since you've got Jamie Oliver and various other chefs actually making oxtails. Suddenly what was really a cheap meat suddenly becomes really expensive. So it's quite a shame. And that evening we had a bit more red wine and a few more gin and tonics, but that came to 1,337 calories. Going on to Sunday and the very final day, and for breakfast broccoli soup with more Weight Watchers bread. No morning snack, but then spaghetti bolognese with Weight Watchers bread, but similar to the other day, a spaghetti bolognese with potato waffles. So I must have enjoyed it and decided to do a variation of it. And then in the afternoon there was no snack, and then in the evening just had a tuna sandwich. Then in the late evening, and this time let's have something finally in the danger zone. So I had a fried egg sandwich with a few oven chips, a couple of cans of Guinness, so it's more calorific, and red wine, which is even more calorific. And that came to 2,458, which once again is a fail. So a number of fails this week, one allowed, but you know, we weren't well under the calorie limit. We weren't doing any of the habits. However, now it comes down to exercise. Monday, yes. Tuesday, yes. And don't forget the exercise is just simply doing the 10,000 steps in a day. Wednesday, no. Thursday, yes. But Friday, Saturday and Sunday, simply no. And that was it. And that was that week. It wasn't as intense as the week before. It is doing it without the habits. It is doing it with bread. It is eating in the danger zone. So the big question is, this week, did I actually put weight on? Well, the only thing what we can do is check the scales, because as we know, the scales never lie. So once again, we go back to our spreadsheet. We've been on the scales, and the scales tell me that the new weight is 264 pounds. Yes, I have actually put on 2 pounds by not using any other bits of the book. You could argue that reached the target of the steps. You could argue some of the days I actually ate towards the calories that I was meant to. However, I would argue that I wasn't doing really any of the habits of the book, and I certainly wasn't being conscious of what I was eating. I was just eating what I fancied. So a £2 gain, I would say, is still quite reasonable. It feels, you know, I'd have expected about £4 this week. So I'm quite pleased with that for what it is. However, if we look at the £2 line, and what we can see is that because we get reduced as a target by £2 this week, but we've actually put £2 on, there's a deficit of £4. We are actually just above the £2 line. But still pretty close to it. You know, if you have these weeks and you have a bad week, especially if you bought the book and you have a bad week, don't give up. This is just, you know, like I've done, I've just kind of not done things properly. Or I've not, you know, just reread the book and don't worry about it and move on. Looking at smart scales, which has gone up. Obviously the BMI is going to go up and the fat stays the same. Now don't forget, this is actually external fat, and a lot of the time is that you would expect to put on external fat or visual fat that people can see. But obviously what's happening with the plank, I've been using the habits previously, it's still working and it's preventing the external fat to be coming on. Muscle, it's only £2 gain, so the muscle stayed the same. The water, once again, I haven't been drinking as much water because that is one part of the habits. So the water intake's reduced by 0.1 and visual fat is increased by 0.5. Now, once again, you haven't got any external fat on, but what it's doing, it's starting to build up the fat back onto the internal organs, which then will encourage the external fat to increase. So it doesn't surprise me is that the visual fat gets it first. However, the outer fat hasn't, so it's going to be easier to actually attack the visual fat as the plan's been doing, and it's far harder to do the external fat. But once again, if you bought the book and you put on a couple of pounds, just think about this: the fat is now going back round your liver, kidneys, things like that, rather than your stomach, your legs, your bum. So is it not worth just have another quick read, even if you only go through the 17 habits, get back on track, and let's reduce this visual fat even more. Bone mass, well, we've increased our weight by 2 pounds, you'd expect bone mass to go up, which it does, and obviously the metabolism goes up to 2122. So, you know, it's just as expected. The surprising bit is that you think it'll all go to your stomach, or it all goes to your bum, as we're told on dieting plans and things like that. And looking at that, what we discover is that the bone mass increases, the metabolism increases because there's more bone mass, visual fat increases, which is the fat around your organs. But what does that look like on the graphs? And once again, the weight increases in proportion to the BMI, in proportion to the metabolism. So obviously those three are working together. The bigger you are, the bigger your metabolism. The lower you are in weight, the metabolism slows down, which is one of the reasons why you've got to keep up with the habits, especially drinking water, especially keeping to the calorie counting and keeping to the exercise. Instantly, within 7 days of not doing the habits, the water is reduced down. The muscle stayed the same, still as active to a point. The bone mass has increased, and the fat has stayed the same, which is your outer fat, but the visual fat's increased. And looking at the graph, visual fat to normal fat, you can see on the orange line is that that's gone up as the blue line stayed flat. So it is well worth going back to those habits, even if it's just to keep the visual fat under control and make our bodies healthier, even though on the outside you can actually still be quite a big person, still a person which is quite overweight, but internally your body's mending quicker, and with lower visual fat this plan's going to work even better than what it's showing right now. So there we have week 5, and finally put on the 2 pounds. I thought I'd put on more, so I'm quite pleased with that. It's interesting looking at the smart scales. That's coming up with some interesting information, and interesting that the external fat doesn't really impact with a couple of pound increase. Now, if you get people that are anorexic and have bulimia, and they say, well, if you eat that truffle, then you're going to put a pound on and it's going to go straight to your bum. Weight Watchers is kitchen pickers wear bigger knickers. Well, probably not. It probably just goes to visual fat, which is internal fat, and it's just a way of making you feel guilty, so you just keep going with those type of plans, which, you know, if you're on a diet, you've got to think, can I live this lifestyle forever? And if the answer is no, then it's only a short-term solution. Anyway, next week is week 6. It's the final week of being naughty. We'll see what happens with it. I'm going to try and introduce a couple more of the habits, because the visual fat makes me worry. So I'm not really going to be into, like, just do another week like this one. But I'm not going to do all the habits, and we'll see what happens. Everything indicates I'll probably lose a pound. But we'll see next week. So once again, thank you for watching. I hope you found it interesting. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help the channel grow. It does help to get the word out. And if you're thinking about buying the book, have another look on Amazon. It's still there. It will be there for a very long time. So we'll see you next week.
If you have enjoyed this video, then please provide your support by liking this video and subscribing to this YouTube channel. If you are watching on Facebook, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. And as always, thank you for viewing.